And we are live back for Football No Filter. One more episode, one more time. George, you're back. And it sounds like you're coming back from the Marquez, correct?
Yeah, I went 3 times around Marrakesh.
3 times around Marquez. É, caralho. Epa. Já és quase
3 times around
campeão
Marrakesh.
europeu.
Faltou quase in 100 years.
In 100 years. Well, Correio da Manhã says they are quase campeão europeu. Quase.
I don't know where you get those photoshopped stuff, but
They're pretty funny, though. You got to admit.
yeah, nice photoshopped things.
They got to admit they're funny. All right. Let's go to the schedule. Round 8. Round 7. My bad. It was Sporting 1, Marítimo 0, Gil Vicente 1, Porto 2, Moreirense 2, Aroca 1, Guimarães 1, Benfica 3, Tondela 3, Famalicão 2, Santa Clara and Braga 1-1, Portimonense and Vizela 0-0, Paz Ferreira 2, Belenenses 2, and Boa Vista 1, Estoril 1. The table goes with Benfica 21, Porto and Sporting at 17, Estoril 14, Braga 12, Portimonense 11, Boa Vista and Paz Ferreira 9, Gil Vicente 8, Vitória de Guimarães and Vizela 7, Marítimo 6 with Tondela and Moreirense, Aroca and Santa Clara 5, Belenenses 4, Famalicão. In last place, 3 points. George, looking down at the table, we have some surprise teams. Famalicão, which was a team that was actually elevated in the middle of the pack last year, they're down at the bottom. Petit, once again, is struggling. And now Santa Clara, the European Santa Clara, is down at the bottom with Aroca.
Yep.
Are you concerned with Famalicão?
I'm still looking at the table, man, and I just see them all bunched up still. One
Oh, yeah.
one win away from clearance. So, I mean, really, like if Belenenses gets a win against one of the top 10 teams, they basically go to like
Middle of
11th
the
place.
table. Yeah, they move to
Yeah,
the
middle of the table.
Yeah.
So it's still way too early. But yeah, I mean, Santa Clara, Famalicão, those are big surprises, I think.
Well,
Um,
Famalicão, sorry to cut you off. Famalicão,
yeah,
who did they play?
Famalicão. So Famalicão this
They
week
played Tondela. They
they
had the
played
lead.
Tondela.
And they had
They
the lead.
lost 3-2.
Yeah, they had the lead and they lost.
Well, they played with 10.
Yeah.
There was a red carded. Famalicão play got red carded at the 49th minute. So they played a whole half basically with just one player. Yeah, I
But
mean just one player with 10 players.
but check this out. But then they scored a goal after.
Yeah, they scored. So they were losing 1-0. They tied 1-1, and they actually went up in the 50th minute. Already playing with 10 players, they went up 2-1, and then they suffered 2 late goals on the 78th minute and on the 84th minute
Yeah,
for the turnaround.
yeah, that was a turnaround and that was it. So they're having some bad luck. I will say they have some bad luck from Malicom, but I think they're gonna eventually find something and they'll get their mojo back.
Yeah, I
Another
think so
team
too.
that is struggling is Santa Clara, and Santa Clara they tied Braga 1-1. They were actually very fortunate because they tied in the 95th minute when they were down 1-0. I kind of warned you guys earlier in the year that when Santa Clara made it to Europe, they were going to have a hard time, and then they sold their top striker. That's their 2 top strikers in the last 2 years out, and now they can't. They struggle to find the back of the net. Would you say that they're a team that's in some serious trouble?
I mean, I don't know if they're in some serious trouble. Again, I think it's early, and they got the kid from Sporting, right, Felipe, which is he did a great job. I mean, he did really good at Passos Ferreira. So I don't know if it's just a matter of time of for him to get adapted to the team. But they didn't just lose their best scorer, right? They lost their top defender. I believe he was the captain too, Fabio Cardoso, right? We spoke about that Porto got him just to sit in the bench, not even the bench in the bancada. So they lost important players, but I think Santa Clara is not a bottom of the table team. I hope they turn it around.
I think they're going to have some trouble without being able to score goals. They're going to struggle. All right, another team that is down at the bottom, Belenenses. I really think that Belenenses has a very poor roster, in my opinion. Defensively, they're very weak. Goalkeeper, they're weak. Striker, they're weak. Their strength is their midfield, and it's not even that strong. They have some players that can make decisions, but it's not really a good amount. But it is what it is. All right. Well,
I think they're in trouble. I think Belenenses is in trouble. I don't think they have the potential to turn it around.
No. And olha, oh guys, celebraram o campeonato europeu.
That's one thing too.
Guys.
Yes. How are you? You at a wedding on a Thursday night. You're on a wedding on a Thursday night?
Dude, I apologize, guys. I apologize. I got my test results back at 3 o'clock, and I ended up at the fucking company dinner. I'm over here in New York somewhere.
That's cool. Enjoy your time.
But
we wanted to talk. We wanted you to talk real quick about Marítimo and Sporting.
Okay, I'll. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, so real quick about that. I was at the game, as you guys know. I was at the stadium. Same thing I mentioned last week. Sporting can score. Sporting dominated the game. I think it was like 17 shots against 2. Marítimo played empty jogo the entire game. Fuck those guys. I can't stand those guys. I hope they go to the 3rd division. But Sporting can score, guys. We cannot score. We can dominate. We can attack. But the third half, like once we get to the último terço, like we just can't. It's a struggle. Paulinho can score. Like none of us can score. Like we just not scoring right now. It's a struggle. And I hate to say it, but this does not look good, guys. Unless we get somebody that can score, it's going to be very tough for us.
George, anything to add there?
No, just I agree with Nelson said. I mean, they pretty much control the whole game. But I think the play looked a little bit familiar. The play that resulted in the goal looked a little bit familiar with the play last year against Porto, and there was no call. So I guess Nelson can't talk about the referees this week.
No, I can. Listen, guys, it's a penalty. The same way it was a penalty last year. It's a penalty. I mean, it's a clear penalty. You want me to tell you that's not a penalty because it's Sporting? I mean, I think all three of us agree that it's a penalty.
Yeah, it's a PK, of course.
Did he go to the hospital?
Who?
Was it Jovan, right?
Did he go to the hospital?
Yeah.
No, his wife is not pregnant.
Oh, his wife's not pregnant. Because last year, Nanu got sent to the hospital, and people were saying that it wasn't a penalty. So I guess if you get your face messed up, punched out, and you go to the hospital, it's not a penalty. But if you just get smacked in the face and no hospital visit, then it's a penalty. I do remember Mulingas because he's saying now that it's a penalty 100%. And last year he was insisting that the play with Nanu was not a penalty. So I wonder what happened from then till now that his criteria has changed.
I'm in a podcast. Say hello.
Say hello to my Mulingas.
I'm in a podcast. Hey. Sorry.
Who's your lady friend?
Oh, she works with me.
Oh,
you're having way too much fun.
Hey, do you want to bring her on the show?
Not now, dude.
No, okay.
Maybe later.
Hey,
yeah, he's coming with us.
I'm going with you guys.
Nelson, you're not going to be spanking anybody later, are you, on the show?
Oh, I think I am. If you guys wait long enough, I will be.
Oh my god.
Hey, that's a penalty if you do that, you know.
I know. I might end up in the hospital like Nanu.
Oh, man.
All right, go enjoy yourself.
Yeah, go
I'll-
enjoy
I'll-
your time.
All right, listen, guys. I just want to say before I go, I'll try to join in a little bit. But before I go, I just want to say, great win by Benfica yesterday. As you guys know, I'm a big Benfica fan in European competitions. Porto sucked. Sporting sucked, but a little less. And listen, like Barcelona's a mess, but great win by Benfica. I'm not going to take that away from them. And I'll try to join you guys in a little bit. All right.
Sounds good, but I'm
No,
confused
no,
how you suck a
no,
little less because
no.
0 points.
No rated X pictures. Make sure if you come on that you're fully dressed.
Yeah, you're
No.
fully dressed.
I don't know about my guests. My guests might, they might not be dressed, but I'll be dressed. All right.
Okay, very good. That's what we need.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
You got it.
Later,
Thank
bye.
you. Well, there it is.
Our comedy,
listen,
our comedy portion of the show.
you know- Hey, at least Nelson checks in, but he wasn't totally gone, if you get what I'm saying, George.
No, not yet.
That other guests that we've had in the past, they were
Yeah,
usually
he
gone
didn't,
around that
he
point.
didn't drink enough CRF yet.
Well, going back to that play, so I'm still waiting for Molingas to explain himself why it's a penalty this time. Maybe it's because it was Sporting, and last year with Nanu, he was saying that it was not a penalty. So I want him to clarify as to why that was. Maybe it's because the color of the jerseys, because majority of the people this year or this time around on the news all said it was a penalty. So their criteria drastically changed. Maybe it had a lot to do with the Euro and that play with Danilo and I think the game against Hungary, where he got punched in the face and they called it a penalty, and it was a clear penalty, quote unquote. But the one on Nanu last year was not a clear penalty. It wasn't a penalty, and everyone was very upset that Sergio Conceição was more concerned about the penalty versus the health of his player. But this time the criteria has drastically changed in the red press and drastically changed with a lot of fans like Molingas, for example. George,
Tell him how you really feel, Bruno.
I'm just wondering. I really like when people can explain themselves, and now they are not able to explain themselves. So that just tells me one thing: I was right all along.
They both were penalties.
There you go. There you go. That's my point. My point is that both were penalties, but it's funny. Last year when they were first and they wanted us to lose points, it wasn't a penalty. So
I agree.
now another thing I gotta say, because I have to ask these Sportingistas, is this. And so now you guys are not going to complain about winning games just because of penalties? Because last year you had a big problem with winning games with penalties that were penalties. This year, winning games with penalties, and you're not concerned about that? You're not complaining about that? So what's changing in the criteria, Sportingistas? Please tell me. I want to hear you guys, and I cannot. No one is answering. I want to know what's going on with the Sportingista Nation. Molingas, please, you're on. Explain yourself.
It was COVID. That's his explanation. Last year was COVID.
It's COVID, all right. He keeps on saying high five. You know why? Because he has no answer to my questions.
Because he still remembered the 5-1 from Ajax.
Yeah, I know. He quickly forgets. It just for guys like Molingas, I just have to let you know that you got this in Champions League. Zero pontos. O campeão de Portugal. Zero.
And a lot of them green zebras were making fun of Benfica that ended the group stages with 0 points. Let's see what happens this year.
Let's see what happens in the falta jogo. There's a couple of games left that I don't know if they're going to be able to. And don't sleep on Besiktas. I'm telling you that right now.
Besiktas playing good too.
Pois. Preparam-se. All right. let's move ahead. It was Gil Vicente 1, Porto 2. I'll give you the lineups. Freli in goal, Carlos, Ferrugem, Fernandes, Talocha, Fujimoto, Carvalho, Pedrinho, Murilo, Fran, and Lino. For Porto was Costa, Corona, Mavemba, Marcano, and Wendell, Uribe, Otavio, Fabio Vieira, Vitinha, Diaz, and Taremi. Personally, I like the lineup. I liked the way Porto played. They played a little too slow in terms of circulation of the ball. I like Gil Vicente. They didn't sit back and just defend. They actually played the game openly. They actually surprised, I think, Porto a little bit, to be honest, that they were playing so open. They created some chances. Porto also created some chances. But at the end of the day, it was a fantastic goal by Taremi. I think that almost midfield shot was spectacular. I know some people were crying about that there was a handball prior, but there was 2 plays after that, and then it became the goal. I also remember that people like to throw that last year in my face about the Porto Boa Vista game where there was 2 illegal goals for Boa Vista that gave them 1 point. But now they cry about this. See how the criteria changes, George? I have a big problem when the criteria changes. And then I really like Gil Vicente. I really did like them. I really think that they have a solid squad. I think they play well at home. But Porto in this game, I don't like the fact that we play with Corona. I don't think he adds anything to this team at all. Otavio was a little on the down. Vitinha and Fabio Vieira, I thought, played particularly. They did okay. They didn't play spectacular, but they played okay. But I think the circulation of the ball is the speed of the circulation of the ball is the big problem, and that's the reason why Porto struggled. Sergio Oliveira hit a free kick right at the end and won the game and gave everybody a panic attack, and we moved on. George, anything to say about this game?
Well, the same thing. I mean, it's always difficult to play Gil Vicente away. Doesn't matter where they are in the on the table.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, they played a good game. They played a good game in Porto. You know, the goals were like you said, 2 fantastic goals. Goals of opportunity. You know, the Taremi goal. You know, very aware of where the goalkeeper was at, and the tremendous shot. You know, it's not for any player that is able to have one of those finishes. You mean Sergio Oliveira at the end of the game? I mean, it's just a phenomenal free kick. But you know, other than that, you know, Porto had the possession, Porto had the shots. You know, I think they 600 versus 200 and something passes. So it's you know, but again, you gotta stick those balls in the net to to win games, and Porto did it. But you know, 2 goals that were in how do I explain it? Not in the float of play, which can be, you know, like Sporting, you know, could be troubling a little bit that they're not able to score these goals on, you know, regular flow of play, and it has to be on either set pieces or just not a freak, but a midfield. I mean, not even a fluke. I don't think it's a fluke, but just like a midfield goal. So, you know, there's, you know, you gotta see what, you know, and then afterwards, you know, we're going to speak about it. And then you know, they had another game that didn't go so well for them. So, you know, definitely, I think the red flags are up for Porto. You know, Sergio Conceição definitely has to figure out what's going on with the team. Figure out, you know, what lineup. I don't think he's set on a lineup yet. I don't think he found that starting 11 that he wants to be consistent with. And like you said, I think there's some players that have just checked out, and I don't understand why he insists on on putting them on the field. But Sergio, he's going to do whatever he feels like doing anyway. So we gotta wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There are some players that, again, I let's start with the first one. I don't understand Corona. He brings absolutely nothing to the table. Absolutely nothing. Bobimba is a guy that is begging for the bench. I think he needs to be benched a little bit to just kind of humble him and bring him back. Marcano has no quality to be on this team. Wendell obviously is our best left back. I like Uribe. I like Fabio Vieira. I like Vitinha. I like Otavio. I like Luis Diaz. I like Taremi. The question is, how long are they going to be continue to be able to play? Because there is, they're going to eventually wear out. And then you look at the bench. A lot of Portistas are asking why Pepe doesn't start. Well, there's a reason why Pepe doesn't start, because Pepe likes to play on the left. So does a guy named Luis Diaz, which is currently one of the best players in the league. And you're gonna have to adjust him to play on the right, and right now he's not ready for that. Another player that I've said this time and time again is Ivan Nielsen. I don't understand how this guy is not a starter on your team. He's your best finisher, and he just doesn't play enough minutes. Fabio Cardozo, despite the fact that I have a personal feeling as to why he doesn't play, he's a better player than Marcano at the minimum, and he's a good, reliable backup to Mbemba, so I think he should play. Marco Grujic, after the performance that he had in Madrid against Atletico, he definitely deserves to start at least some games. We'll get to that in a little bit when we talk about Liverpool. João Marius puts in Corona any day of the week in his pocket. Sergio Oliveira made his way back to the starting lineup, and he won us the game. Great. But where is his motivation? I think you kind of touched on that. And then Tony Martinez. I think Tony Martinez is a guy that, I think he's a hard worker. I think he works well for the team. His work rate is very high. He does lack some experience and some quality to play on a team like Porto. I have my doubts about him. I think he's a good backup, but I would not put him ahead of Ivan Nielsen. In my opinion, I would not. But we're going to continue this way, and this is going to be the struggle. I think Porto's going to struggle, and it has a lot to do with Sergio Conceição and his ideas and his philosophy of the game. And a lot of people are asking for his head now, and we'll see what happens. So, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's talk Guimarães, Benfica. Guimarães lost to Benfica at home 3-1. Thermal in goal. Saku, Borkovic, Mumin, Soares, Andrés, Medo, Quaresma, Silva, Edwards, and Estupinhan. For Benfica, it was Vlaco Dimas, Veríssimo, Otamendi, Vertonghen, Lázaro, João Mário, Weigl, Grimaldo, Silva, Yaremchuk, and Nunes. Go ahead, talk about this. I didn't get a chance to watch this. I saw the highlights, but obviously there was two big errors by the Guimarães defense that was cashed in by Benfica.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the statistics of the game, and I think you can draw a really good conclusion as to how the game went. I don't think it was a particularly a good game by Benfica. It was to me an even game. That was decided, like you said, it was decided by those first two goals where there was mistakes by the Guimarães defense. We do have a lot of quality on the team. We do have a lot of quality, especially up front. Roman Yaremchuk and Dora Nunes and Rafa. They really make up I think a phenomenal trio up front. Like it it showed last Wednesday or yesterday. And when you make mistakes, Benfica they're gonna make you pay for it. They're the top quality players up front. And then in the back, there's it's that back line is also to me it's phenomenal this year. I think with Vertonghen, I think I was going to say Vertonghen being the weak link, but I don't even know if he's really a weak link. I mean, his experience, he's probably the slowest, definitely the slowest out of the three backs, but with a lot of experience. Otamendi is just a beast. He doesn't, in the Portuguese league, you can't tell that he's 33, 34 years old. He's got way enough legs for the forwards that compete against us in our league. And the midfield now is it's, I think Jorge Jesus is after working 1 year with Weigl, I think you can tell. And again, the game on Wednesday yesterday showed, you can tell Weigl is also turning out to be a really good midfielder, and Jorge Mario, João Mario, I mean, a player that I particularly don't. It's not that I don't like. I just really don't see value or don't see the things that Jorge Jesus sees it. But it looks like for Jorge Jesus type game, he's the key in the midfield. To me, as though it's just a slow midfielder, but I guess that works for the Benfica game. Especially when you have a lot of offensive players like we do. I mean, he's the you could say the director of the orchestra. If he wants the game to go fast, he'll push the play up. If he wants to slow it down, he knows exactly all movements of the game and how Jorge Jesus wants the game to go. So overall, I think it was a good win. I think we particularly we do pretty well against Guimarães, but I think it's always a tough game going up north with the fans and stuff like that. But Benfica just playing. We're just playing well. We're just I think that every game the team is getting better and better. It's to me it's just let's see when we do have a bad result, how the team responds to it, and what the next couple of games look like after a tie or a loss. But for now, I'll take it. Playing good.
Well, I think Guimarães has had one win in the last 9 years against Benfica at home. I think that was the stat that I saw. Guimarães, like I've told you in the past, they play good quality soccer, but they have nobody to score. I saw the highlights. They had a couple of opportunities that they, you have to capitalize against bigger clubs, and they didn't do it. And at the end of the day, they took the big loss at home. And there's really not much you can say or do about it. Until Vitória Guimarães gets a striker, this is going to be their style of soccer. They're going to outplay teams from box to box, and they're not going to be able to score in the pivotal moments of the game. The other opponent's going to go down there and they're going to score a goal or two based on errors, and they're going to lose points. They're going to lose lots of points. So we will see.
I think they lost points, and I mean, and they really lost an opportunity to cash out on a couple of players that they have on their squad. I mean, I think with this season and Edwards, I think he's losing value when they could have cashed him out last year or the year before and make some really good money. So it's not just from a results standpoint, but even from a financial standpoint, it's when you let your team go down a road that that's not successful. You not only lose when it comes to result, you lose when it comes to from the finances. And I think I just don't think the change in the presidency what was it last year or the year before. I think it hurt Guimarães more than anything. I mean, I just don't think they have a very good vision for what they want in the squad. They got Quaresma. It's a big publicity stunt, with the whole Mustang and the presentation in the castle and stuff like that. But you don't get him anybody else. You don't get anybody else to play with him up front, and you can't do anything. What's the guy? 37 years old, 36, 37 already.
38. I think it was his birthday. I think it's 38.
So,
well,
that's my.
Yeah, that's your analysis on Vitória Guimarães. Sadly, there's really not much more to ask or to wonder. Just real quick, I saw Brian Neto earlier today. He mentioned that Moreirense got their first win of the season over Arouca 2-1, which that kind of propelled them right into the middle of the pack almost. They're at 6 points, 1 point clear, but one more win and you're like right in the middle of the table. So, and Moreirense always has a quality team that can survive in the league. I want to make that clear, that can survive in the league. Okay. Now, there is another question here by Brian Neto. Bruno, how do you like being called to the Portuguese national team?
Pep was called to the national team, even though he's hurt.
That makes no sense. I mean, he's got, I think, a fractured rib or something.
Yeah.
So, I don't understand why he would even be called. But they'll probably, analyze him and they'll get him and they'll release him. So I think
which I think is ridiculous, a waste of time. That's why you exchange medical information before you select the player. Why are you going to make the player take a trip to wherever the hell it is just to get him checked out? I mean, it's like there's no trust with these clubs and the federation. It's ridiculous.
Well, that's where it came down to, because over the years, how many guys said that they were hurt, they really weren't hurt, and they were called for the national team, and it was kind of a stunt just to not get used, right? Another question.
But I don't think Pep is that type of guy. If Pep wanted to was called to the national team and Porto didn't let him go to the national team, I think Pep would freaking flip shit around over there. I don't think he's that type of player.
I think he likes to go too, to be honest, but We'll see. All right, now there's another question here by David Pereira. Better coach, João Pedro Sousa or Ivo Vieira? What is your opinion on that?
I think Vieira is more experienced.
Yeah,
I think he's seen a lot more than João. So to me, I think Ivo.
I think Ivo Vieira just needs a little bit more time with the players. Remember, their roster changed a significant amount again from this past offseason to now. So there's a lot of new players, and it's going to take a little time for the players to get acclimated with the system. So you got to give it time. I know that there's a lot of people that are very impatient. Fans are very impatient. They want immediate results. Sometimes you just can't have those immediate results. David says here he can't recover a club from falling. Not necessarily true, because they were down at the bottom when he took over from Malicão, and they finished somewhere almost in the middle of the pack. So he definitely can let that happen. He can make that happen.
Yeah, I think so too.
So we shall see. Now, Mlinga says here, look what happened to Plot in the national team last time. He was hurt and selected. No, wasn't he selected and then they evaluated him? He got hurt and that's when they let him go?
I'm not sure. What is he? Which call is he talking about?
He's talking about Plot.
Yeah, but was he called these last two games? I don't think he was called for these last two games.
No, these next couple.
No. The previous ones.
He did. Remember, that was right before the Porto game, and that was the big controversy that all those Sporting players were getting released, and they didn't have to play for the national team, and right before the Porto game, and then remember all that. That was that big problem.
He didn't even play when he was selected to the Euro. I don't even know why he's being called.
Yeah.
If you're not going to play him, and let him stay with his club, I don't get it. I don't know.
Yeah, it is what it is. Brian Neto, but the pack was like it is this year. Yeah, I mean, the first couple of weeks of the season, that's what's going to happen. First first several weeks, probably almost a whole 1/3 of the season, you're going to see very even, and then teams are going to start finding their groove, finding their form, and they're going to start accumulating points, and they're going to push away from everybody else. Another question here from David Pereira. Last question. First manager to be fired in Liga B win. How nobody has been fired yet this wild to me. But so who is the first coach to get fired?
Tobias Petit.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because I thought the same thing. That, if to be honest, that's going to be my pick. I think it's going to be Petit, but Petit will survive up until the Benfica game, and then he'll be let go.
Yeah.
So I don't know when that will be, but he'll survive up until then, and then they'll let him go.
Hopefully, it'll be soon.
But that's going to be my first pick. Now,
Yeah.
he says that he's pretty surprised that nobody got fired yet. Look, again, you
Too
know,
early.
David, it is early, and I think over the years, the management that is over there now at all these clubs, you have to give some coaches time. You got to see what they have. I mean, majority of these rosters, there's a lot of new players, so it takes some time for them to adapt to the systems and to
I
their
don't, I,
teammates.
I don't think it's even that. Also, I don't think it's only that. I think you got to understand also with this COVID, these teams are more strapped for money than they've ever been.
Correct.
So you fire a coach, you're gonna have to pay him, and you got to hire another one. So I think clubs are looking at that stuff as well.
Right. That's pretty much it for the Portuguese league. We'll go back to it for the next round. Is there games this weekend? Yes, there is. There is games this weekend. All right. All right. So we're gonna take a quick look at Champions League. There was a lot of games going on. We had PSG 2, Manchester City 0, Leipzig 1, Club Brugge 2. Do you think that was a shocker?
No, I don't. What is it? Leipzig
1, Club Brugge 2.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that Leipzig should have won that, but that wasn't the shocker of the round for sure.
We'll get to that in 1 second. So AC Milan 1, Atletico 2, Porto lost 5-1 to Liverpool, which we'll cover in a second. Ajax 2, Besiktas 0, Dortmund 1, Sporting 0, Shakhtar and Inter Milan 0-0. And this is the shocker that you're talking about. Real Madrid 1, Sheriff Tiraspol 2.
Yeah.
Do you want to just have any comment on Real Madrid or not yet?
No, I think Real Madrid was just, we were talking before about your own soccer team, your college team, and how you're doing so well, and you just got surprised, a couple of games last weekend.
Yeah.
Last week, I think it's the same thing with Real Madrid. Real Madrid just counted on the name of the club and the shirt to win the games, and you can't do that anymore. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't even know where this team is from. I haven't researched it.
Moldova.
Okay, Moldova. And at home, right? In Spain?
Yes, it was
at the Bernabeu.
At the Bernabeu.
2-0. It's
2-1.
2-1. I'm sorry, 2-1.
It was a late winner. It was a late winner. It was in the 90th minute.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, and again, one of these games that Real Madrid could have won, 5-0, 6-0, but
they couldn't score.
You don't score, you get scored on.
That's it. That's the name of the game in soccer. You don't score, you get scored on. We do preach that often at my college team. All right, another one that was interesting for the Porto group. It was AC Milan 1, Atletico 2. AC Milan was winning. They got a red card, and then things went down. Now, Rafael Leão, the Portuguese international, was the one that scored early. But two late goals, Griezmann 84th and Luis Suarez on a penalty in the 97th minute. Any comment on that?
No, I mean it's. I would think that Athletic was favored in that game, but those 97-minute penalties, they always
A little dubious.
always
Yeah,
the same.
I'm gonna tell you this much. To be honest, if you watch the highlights of this game, AC Milan had plenty of opportunities to score. But I will say this: you mentioned it just before. When you don't score, you get scored on, and that's exactly what happened. AC Milan fell asleep, and this result was actually very beneficial to Porto because AC Milan still sits at 0 points. And now we go into the dupla jornada with AC Milan, both home and away, or I don't know if it's away home. Regardless, it's 2 games that Porto has to win because they have to make up for that loss at home, which we're going to talk about now. Porto 1, Liverpool 5. I'll just do the Porto lineup. Diogo Costa in goal. Jesus Corona, which was a mistake. Fabio Cardozo, Ivan Marcano. Zaidu, which was even the biggest mistake. Uribe and Sergio Oliveira. Otavio, Tony Martinez, Luis Diaz, and Taremi. Look, it's going to come down to one thing. I mean, you look at this game, and we were talking about this off the air. George, it's pretty simple. You look at the 5 goals. The 5 goals that Liverpool scored were not earned. The 5 goals that Liverpool scored were all given. Zaidu with a mistake early, and I told you he just doesn't have the quality to play on this team. Let in the league or even a cup game, let alone a Champions League against a team like Liverpool, and we saw the result. Diogo Costa had a tough outing. 2 goals you can pin on him, which was the second and the fourth. The second one, there is an argument that Marcano could have cleared the ball, which is right. He had an opportunity to clear it. I don't know why he let it go through and just trust that the goalkeeper was going to get it. And the goalkeeper let it slide. I don't know what he was thinking, but and Ivan Marcano he just doesn't have what it takes. I mean, yeah, you have a 38-year-old Pep, but it's 38-year-old Pep that's efficient tackling. Marcano was a gigantic hole when he was 28, let alone 33. This is just ridiculous. Tony Martinez was a non-factor. Taremi, I thought, scored a goal and that's not much else. I did not like the sub Otavio for Fabio Vieira. That just wasn't what we needed. It just wasn't what we needed. We needed something a little different. And at the end of the day, Porto paid a serious price. We did play better when Grujic went in. I think that was a guy that should have started. Sergio Oliveira was a non-factor for the most of the game. And that was pretty much it. I mean, there really wasn't much else to say about this game. I'll let you have your say on this one.
No, like you said before, I think Diogo Costa had a really bad game. I think 2 or 3 of those goals were definitely his making. I don't get the lineup again. I don't you sit down a player the whole season, it doesn't even go to the bench, and then you start him in a Champions League game. Fabio Cardozo, I don't understand that. I just don't get that. Corona again, the same thing with Corona. I don't understand why he's still playing, why he's still at Porto. The Tony Martinez up front. I don't get that either. When you have other quality players that I just don't get it. I think Sergio Conceição is a little bit hard-headed. I think this game against Liverpool, especially at home, I think you play a little bit more defensively, maybe with the three center backs and the extra men in the midfield, and hope for counter.
Right.
Get Liverpool nervous, and maybe in a counter, second half you put somebody like Pepe, whatever his name is. You put some of these speedsters up front, and you hope for a counter that you can surprise Liverpool. I don't think you play I don't think you play tick for tack against Liverpool. Porto has always done, from what I remember, has always done very badly against English teams. There's teams that do. I think Benfica does okay against English teams. I think Porto, besides the Manchester United, I guess was it the tie or the 1-0 that with the Mourinho years when they went to the final, right, or semi-final of the Champions League when Porto won the Champions League in 05, correct?
04.
The McCarthy, not McCarthy, Costinha goal, the Costinha goal, right?
And
I think
Manchester.
Yeah, Manchester. I think that's probably the only game that I can remember that they did okay in England. So Porto doesn't do really well against English teams. I think you gotta pull back and you gotta play a little bit more defensively against Liverpool. And pick your opportunities. On the counter. There's nothing wrong with doing that against these big teams. But I didn't get the lineup. I don't understand what's going on in Sergio's head. He's got to find an 11 that he likes, and he's got to stick to it, and not do crazy stuff like putting a center back that hasn't played the whole season in the first game. You throw him to the wolves against Mané, Jota, and Salah in a Champions League game. I just don't get that.
Well, that's the one thing that kind of confused me. I just don't understand. He went 4-5-1 against Man City last year. He was successful. I looked at another stat. I'm actually trying to look for it now. I saw a statistic the last, I think, like 8 or 9 games of Porto in the Champions League. They've given up 0 goals or 1 goal. And then they play Liverpool, and it's 5-4-5. So that is just absolutely astonishing that this continues to happen. And it just doesn't make sense to me, and as to why he continues to do certain things, make these very odd lineups. You have to. I agree with you. You have to put. You know that Liverpool is going to have the possession, so you just better overflow the middle and let them try to beat you through the outside, which they do have speed. But then the Corona and Zaidu it just doesn't make sense. I know that David here is saying you need Zaidu's speed. Zaidu's speed for what? He can't control the ball. And I'll say that Wendell didn't look good on one of the goals. I don't remember. I think it was the third goal. He was just walking back or jogging back. It was quite pathetic.
No, that back four is pretty. I think it's pretty sad, to be honest with you, for a Porto team in the Champions League. I see no. I mean, Corona, Fabio Cardoso, I think is a good player again. I think he just needs more run. Marcano and Zaidu against Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, this one was a bad one, and there's a lot of people that want Sergio Conceição gone. I think they're sick and tired of it, and I've told you this in the past. I said it a year ago. I'll say it again this year. I don't think he's going to stay till the end of the year. I was really surprised that he stayed until the end of the year this year, but at the same time, like. The question, George, is who are you going to get?
But you look, that's what I'm saying. I mean, but you look at the squad, and where's the quality though?
But then that's not his fault. Like I've had this debate with
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you any coach that you can get there, right? Any coach that you get there, you're not going to get one thing from them, any of them. You're not gonna get that Porto grit or hungry or whatever you want to call it. You're not gonna get that from them, right? And the quality, they're gonna have the quality players that he has now. I just don't think it's a squad with enough quality. I just don't. I mean, I look at we're looking at the back four, and it's like in a Champions League game. This back four. I mean, but who else do you put there? Okay, Pep,
Okay.
one of my favorite players. To be honest with you, is forget the fact that he's a Porto player or whatever. But he's 38 years old. Where's the replacements?
I found the stat here. So Porto's goals conceded in past 11 at home in Champions League proper. 5 versus Liverpool, 0, 1, 1, 1, 4 versus Liverpool, 0, 0, 0, 1, 5 versus Liverpool. So, like I told you, he has this thing that he needs to play against Liverpool wide open, eye to eye. And it just does not work. The biggest debate is, why do you continue to try to play the same exact way and it just does not result when you play other teams and you're actually successful with a completely different strategy? He played against Chelsea twice. He beat Chelsea actually last year in the quarterfinals. If people forget about that, it was just 1 goal too short. And he's played against Man City. He got robbed at Man City. And at Porto, he had a good game and he frustrated Pep Guardiola. Why does he try to go eye to eye with Liverpool? I don't understand. And
He doesn't need to win against Liverpool.
No, all you have to do is draw, and
Yeah,
you give yourself a fighting chance. So it really is confusing, to say the least. I do want to or do want to touch on some things. Here it is. Bruno, the coach's comments. Can you speak on his post-match frustration? That's from David Pereira. Listen, like I told you, or I've said this in the past, this was all frustration. This is him trying to get the click out of the team, because he's done this in the past. And what happened? They started to go on a run. That was the one year where they lost the League Cup final, and he threatened to leave after the League Cup final, and then they went to turn it around and they won the league that year. So this might be his last ditch effort to try to stimulate the team and get the team going in the right direction. Do I think that some of those players are tired and they're just done with him? The answer is yes. I really do, and I just don't think that the message is being heard anymore. And he's right about that. I don't think it is. But he's not the problem. The problem is it all starts when Angelino Ferreira left Porto in 2013, and it's been downhill since. Ever since the Fernando Gomes, the administrator, has come in, the CFO, he has done absolutely garbage with our finances that has carried over to our team because we don't have money to buy players. So that's where the real stem of the issue is. It has nothing to do with coach and players and this and that. It has to do with the upstairs. That's where the real issue is. And I've said this in the past. Mlinga says Villas-Boas' next coach. Villas-Boas is not going to be your next coach. That's it.
Nope.
Like, he's not going to come back to coaching. Not in Portugal, at least, and not to Porto in the current circumstances with the administration that is there. Nancy says that Pinto Costa wants to finish the term with Sergio Conceição as coach, and they're two-hearted people. That is correct. I don't see that happening. I don't, but then again, the turmoil is going to start turning up more and more there's more and more people against Pinto Costa, more and more every year. So we're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen there. Bruno, this is not Braga or Guimarães with high expectations, with no budget. There are a ton of coaches that want that job. Do they want that job? Because
who wants that job?
Do they want that job? Because, all right, you're going to go there. You're going to get a good paycheck, yes. But the expectation is high, and you have to listen to what they want. It's hard to manage a team when you are being told what to do. It's not even your team. You're just being
Yep.
You're basically you gotta make the right recipe with the ingredients that they have and what they give you, and that's just not it. Like, that's just not how you run the team. Why is the Portuguese national team not successful? because you have a puppet of a coach and you have other people that from the outside that say you need to play this guy, and this guy. It's just not going to work. He's just there to try to put it all together, but it's hard. All right.
I agree.
We touched a lot on Porto today. We're going to talk about Sporting and what's their name? Dortmund. Did you get a chance to watch this game, George?
I didn't watch the game. I didn't get a chance to watch it.
They looked poor. They didn't create a lot of chances, did they?
Who's Sporting?
Yeah, they didn't.
I wouldn't expect them to create a lot of chances. I think I'm surprised that Dortmund with their firepower up front that they're really they were only able to score a goal. But I mean, look at the stats. There's I mean it doesn't look like it was a bad game from a stats perspective. I just think that Dortmund has way too much quality. And I think the 1-0 was actually a pretty good score for Sporting.
Well, remember they didn't have Haaland.
Yeah, but they still got Pulisic, they still got Reina, they still got
No Pulisic. Pulisic is not.
Pulisic didn't play? What do you mean he's not? I'm sorry, Pulisic. Reina.
Yeah, Reina did not. It didn't seem like he played.
So they played with they played with Witzel, they played with Rouse, Hazard. Yeah, I mean they Dortmund didn't look like they played with their normal lineup either. No, I'm surprised.
English. Key word there is Mamuri wanted a tie. Wanted. He didn't get it though. He didn't get it. Now I saw that Paulo Silva was having a debate here with Mlinga saying that, and he's a Sportingista, Paulo Silva, saying that Sporting is going to finish the group stage with 0 points. Do you see that more likely now, George?
Look, I think what do they play? They play Besiktas now, 2 games.
2 games in a row, yeah.
Besiktas.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that I think that's their opportunity to make some points. It's going to be against Besiktas, and I think, is Besiktas they're already playing in Turkey with fans or no fans?
No, I think they have fans.
I think they have fans already. So I think the away games in Turkey, as we all know, they're very, very difficult. So I think the home game is going to be Sporting's big chance to get some points. I think away is going to be hard, and I think against Ajax and Dortmund, the games in the next round, I think those are going to be hard as well. If they don't get any points against Besiktas, I think it's a done deal.
Yeah, I agree with you strongly. I still say that their best shot of winning second or making second was to beat Ajax at home. They got clobbered by Ajax 5-1. Remember that, Mlingas? 5-1, the high five that you were talking about before? Well, there it is. Here's your high five. Against Ajax. It wasn't against Liverpool. It was against Ajax. A bunch of kids, by the way. A bunch of kids. And I know you're going to come with the Quatch. Well, Quatch wasn't there and blah, blah, blah. Quatch didn't play. Just remember how Dortmund scored. Quatch was there and Quatch was beat. So I like when people talk about that and they kind of forget that there's certain players, they like to make excuses for themselves. That, my friend, is how it is. Amorim 0-4 in European play. Very good. Very good. And that's how it's going to be. Amorim is going to continue to rack up some losses in Europe. I've warned Sportingistas that they were going to end with they were going to get out of this group, and so far I'm right. All right, let's move on to the next round of games. That was on Wednesday. Bayern smacks Dinamo Kiev 5-0. Benfica beats Barcelona 3-0. Atalanta 1, Young Boys 0. Manchester United 2, Villarreal 1. Red Bull Salzburg 2, Lille 1. Wolfsburg and Sevilla 1 apiece. Zenit 4, Malmo 0. Juventus beats Chelsea 1-0. You want to talk about Benfica and Barcelona?
Yeah, I'll talk about Benfica Barcelona. I think Benfica really um, helped themselves with the early goal by Darwin Nunes. I think again it's one of those games against almost like a Porto Liverpool. You score early against them, and on the counter you gotta be able to hurt them. And I think Benfica again, like I said, I think that's one of the keys for Benfica. I think all three people up front, the three players up front, Yara Manchuk, Darwin Nunes, and Rafa, they're all very very fast. Even Darwin and Yaremchuk, who are bigger players, they're very very fast. On with or and without the ball. So I think the early goal by Darwin Nunes, keeping that pressure on Barcelona, knowing that you're going to give away possession, that they're going to have the more possession than you, especially a Barcelona team. That's what they're tic tac. That's what they're known for. But being able in transition to hurt them, and I think we're very successful in the second half. I think in the first half, it wouldn't have been a surprise if Barcelona had scored a goal. They had opportunities right in front of the goalkeeper. But in the second half, Benfica came out very strong, and took advantage of the transitions, from defense to attack, and were able to hurt Barcelona with the two additional goals. But I know this is not Messi's Barcelona. It's not what Barcelona was a few years back. But you look at the squads, you look at the budgets, and it's still Barcelona. They still have, you still have Busquets, you still have Piqué, you still have Ansu Fati, you still have Sergio Roberto. You still have a lot of players that are quality players. I just think that Benfica, I just think that Koeman was outcoached, and Barcelona was outplayed by Benfica. I mean, on paper, I'll put the Benfica team against anybody. On paper, it's just if they're able to play cohesively like they played against Barcelona yesterday, I think we could play against anybody. Then you need a little bit of luck as well, right? We're playing now Bayern. These next two games, those are going to be those games are going to tell a lot about where Benfica really is from a team perspective.
I just want to.
It'll be a big test.
Yeah, it is going to be a big test. Number one. Number two, let's see if they can continue that with Bayern, that is right now destroying people everywhere that they go and play. Let's see how that's going to work. Now, I just want to throw out this was a very interesting fact about the game. Pedri, 18 years old, Eric Garcia, 20, Dest, 20, De Jong, 24, Ronald, 22, Fati, 18, Gavi, 17, Mingiza, 22, Nico, 19. Very young squad with Barcelona, the Barcelona of 2008 and 2000 or a little couple of years after that. Definitely not the same. The last 5 games that Barcelona had in Champions League, Barcelona 0, Juventus 3, Barcelona 1, PSG 4, PSG 1, Barcelona 1, Barcelona 0, Bayern 3, Benfica 3, Barcelona 0. So they've had one draw in the last 5 games in Champions League. This is by far, to my recollection, George, probably the worst Barcelona in their history.
I mean, look, they're young players. I mean, Pedri's Pedri. Pedri had an awesome European championship tournament. But you have. I really think Coleman screwed up when Piqué had to get out, and I think he pulled back Frank de Jong. He put him as a freaking center back, which makes absolutely no sense. when you have a center back to Reige in the bench and you don't bring him in, I think that's where he really lost the game. I don't, and then Ansu Fati, last weekend he played for 10 minutes and he scored a goal, and you just bring him in the 70th minute or something like that. I don't think that's I really think Coleman wants to get fired at this point. I think he's done with the with Laporta and the whole administration of Barcelona.
Yeah, I would agree with that, George, for sure, 1,000%. I mean, right now, what we got going on here with Barcelona is definitely a tragedy if you're a Barcelona fan. But you know what? Real Madrid's not too far off. There's a reason why they were really pushing for that Super League. These are teams that cannot compare or cannot compete with EPL teams at the moment, and that is why they were pushing for the Super League. And right now, I'm looking at Barcelona. I think this is going to be a team that's going to be struggling for many years.
But Bruno, I think there's a big difference between the Real Madrid wanting the Super League and Barcelona wanting the Super League. I think Real Madrid wanted the Super League, for additional revenue. They did take some losses with COVID and stuff like that, but I don't think they're in desperate mode like Barcelona. Barcelona is in desperate mode. Barcelona had to pretty much give away, players that they bought for 100+ million euros just to be able to register players and play the season, basically. And that's what you get when you're paying a player almost 200 million euros a year, because that's what they were paying Messi. Yeah. When you times that by, let's say, 8 years, it's over €1 billion. It's over €1 billion. And it's hard, when presidents of federations do what are supposed to do, especially in the Spanish league. I know, in Portugal it's not like that, and it probably should be. I think it would resolve some of the issues that we have with players not getting paid, and having to pretty much be begging for food so they can feed themselves and their families. But in Spain it's not like that. In Spain, you have a percentage of your budget that there's got to be a fair. I think you could only spend 70% of your total budget in salaries or something like that. Right. In order to make sure that your players get paid, and this wasn't being done for the last 10 years for Barcelona. Just Messi was taking. So I think the budget for this year, Barcelona had to be at 200 million euros for the whole squad, and that's almost what Messi was making the last 8 years in his contract. He was making almost 80 million euros clean a year.
Yeah, Barcelona, without question. How do I want to phrase this? Barcelona, without question, sold their future for the present, and now they're paying a very heavy price, and that's just how it's going to be. Like I said, it's going to be for a while, and you know what? It might be good for the EPL. I mean the EPL, the Spanish league, because there might be other teams that are going to be able to rise and start competing and maybe win some league.
I think so too. Especially now that with the new TV rights that they just signed, and Barcelona they don't want to sign it, but the teams that did sign, they're taking advantage of the additional revenue. Barcelona complains that it's because they're from a Catalonia team and whatever. Dude, they were benefited for all these 10 years, so 8-10 years, because if they had followed, if the Spanish Federation had followed their own rules, this should have happened 5-6 years ago, and they still would have. It actually would have helped Barcelona, because they wouldn't have been as broke as they are now. I mean, they're in debt over 1.3 billion euros. Where are they going to get that money? They had plans for a new stadium. That's going away. They're not building a new stadium anytime soon. They have no money for it. You know, I think they just got a loan a couple of months ago for 500 million euros to be able to pay debts that they have outstanding. So just so they can, you know, function. You know, they had to give away Griezmann. They had to give away all these players. I mean, I think we went over it one of these last 4 or 5 shows. When you go over the salary sheet of Barcelona, the type of numbers that were being practiced, and you're like, what that, you know, Umtiti, whatever his name is. I'm sorry. Umtiti. You know how much Umtiti makes?
Yeah, he makes a lot of money.
He makes like 25 million euros a year. Like, and I think that's like clean.
And he did not want to leave.
Yeah, he didn't want to leave. Trincao was loaned out to
Wolves.
To Wolves. He's making like 8 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy.
4 clean, 8 million total. It's a lot of money, guys, and that is why I think a team like Barcelona, and you know what, I'm kind of happy that Barcelona and Real Madrid are going to take a back seat. They had a really good run for 30, 40 years. Now it's time to just take a back seat for a little bit. So, and other teams gotta step up. But who are the other teams that are going to be stepping up? You're going to be looking at a team like, for example,
I think
like a Manchester
Sevilla.
City. I'm sorry?
What are you talking about? Teams where
No,
in Spain or
I'm talking about in Champions League. You'll see a Manchester City. You'll see the EPL teams coming strong. You might see, obviously, Bayern's always going to be there. I would like to see other clubs rise to the occasion, but it's going to be tough. I mean, even the Italian clubs right now are all struggling. I mean, Inter Milan, they are
their biggest loss in history, 284 million. That was an expensive. That was an expensive championship last year.
Championship, right? So, and they're in some serious trouble financially, and this is all clubs that are they. This is what happens with foreign ownership, and when they don't want something anymore, when they see that it's just not worth having a team, and they're not making the money that they thought they were going to make, they pull their money out, and then they leave it for the fans to figure it out, and obviously they don't give them more money.
I mean, that's why I respect Chelsea and Roman Abramovich, because you know he spent a lot of money in that club, and he goes out every season now and he buys some young studs in Germany, and he's collecting you know jewels, you know the young players, the young Germans that he's been buying. I think he's looking to get Haaland now. I mean, he's just building it's Real Madrid had the Galacticos, and he's building the Galactic over there in London. I think they're going to be strong for many years. And I think right now I think it's Chelsea. I think it's, even though you know Juventus beat Chelsea, I think like you said, the English teams minus Manchester United. So I say Chelsea, I say Liverpool, I say Manchester City, and then you have Bayern Munich. I don't think PSG is going to do anything. They're going to find out really early that you know names don't win championships. You can't buy in Champions Leagues. Right. They should have known that already, and especially when you have a player against his will in a squad of all stars. You know, you're going to run into trouble. You either have to bench him or you put him playing, and you're going to run into trouble. But I don't think the Spanish teams. I don't think Real Madrid has anything. Barcelona definitely doesn't have anything. And Atletico is the that person that that likes to go to the dance, but when he or she gets there, just sits on the side and doesn't want to have any fun. I think they're that squad that when it's the knockout rounds, they'll be out pretty fast.
Yeah. And that's pretty much how it's going to be. All right, let's quickly talk about next week. We got a lot of games coming up for the weekend. It probably starts tomorrow. Marítimo Moreirense, Famalicão and Guimarães. Massive game for both teams. Famalicão and Guimarães. Both teams desperate for a win. More Famalicão than Guimarães. But it's the return of Ivo Vieira versus Vitória de Guimarães. I think it's going to be a very, very interesting game. Yeah, I think these two teams are going to have to fight it out and see who's standing. Vizela and Santa Clara on Saturday. Then it's going to be Porto and Paz Freire. I think Porto has to answer strong. I think they will against a Paz Freire team that is not what they used to be. I expect Porto to win 3-0. George.
I think Porto is going to still have the Champions League hangover. I think it's going to be 1-1.
Okay. Belenenses and Tondela, Benfica and Portimonense.
Benfica Portimonense with a packed stadium now starting this weekend. It's 100% capacity. I think the fans are going to really make themselves heard at the stadium, especially with the win against Barcelona. And I think I say 4-1 Benfica.
4-1. 4-1 Benfica, your favorite club, Nelson.
Which game?
For Portimonense.
Hold on.
Yeah,
a
did
second.
you?
Is there a light over here, back here?
Are you still on your city bike or what? Bruno,
What happened?
you see what I said? Did you see what I sent you on Messenger, Bruno?
It didn't open. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, Nelson was having going to a bicycling triathlon in New York on a city bike.
That's right. So what game prediction is this?
This is Benfica Portimonense.
Oh, all right. Can I predict that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I say I don't think we lose this year. I think we're gonna go undefeated. I think my team is great. I think we win 3-0.
3-0.
3-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that Portimonense is very weak defensively, and this one's gonna be 4-0 Benfica. A very easy one for you guys. You missed Porto versus Paz Freire. So Nelson, tell me what your score is there.
I listen. Porto's playing real well. They played really well 2 days ago. They look very strong on defense. You know, that was a nice birthday cake for them on their anniversary. I think Porto wins 2-0.
Very good. Just remember that Porto has more points than Sporting in Champions League.
Who's Sporting? I don't even know who Sporting is.
Sporting Lisbon.
I have no clue who that is, dude.
Yeah,
I don't follow them.
Well, speaking of Sporting, they go to Aroca and play. So, Nelson, what do you got there?
I'll be honest with you guys. It's another tough game. Sporting can score, guys. Sporting cannot score. I'm going to say that they win. I'm going to say that they win 1-0 because if they score 2 goals, it's a miracle. But it's another tough game. If they tie, I wouldn't be surprised. 1-0 Sporting.
George?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sporting barely wins. I think 2-0, 2-1, 2-1 Sporting.
With penalties or no penalties?
With penalties, and I mean, they're just gonna win because the next game I started Alvalade with a full stadium, and the Juveléo, with the Luzes Brancas is gonna get these kids all shaken up.
I'm going to say that Aroca is going to pull a surprise, and it's going to be Aroca 1, Sporting 0.
You wouldn't be surprised, dude. Sporting can score, dude. It's not a surprise.
I think that Aroca is gonna. They're dangerous at home. That's the problem, and Sporting is shaky right now. So I think that's very possible, and that's not me talking smack. It's just me being realistic. That Sporting right now is not breathing confident in any possible way, both league and Champions League. So. Well, Belenenses and Tondela, Estoril, Gil Vicente, and then Braga, Boa Vista to end it on Sunday, and then they go into international break, right, Nelson?
Yeah, they go to international break. I think before the season resumes, I think there's a League Cup game.
League Cup?
Yeah, League Cup. I think Sporting plays like 4 straight games at home or some shit like that.
Oh, the bus is not available for away games, so they're going to play all their games at home?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, got it. Okay. Very good. Well, we had a good show. We analyzed Champions League. We analyzed the league. We went into depth with a lot of different things going on. I appreciate everybody to come on. There we had a lot of interaction with David, with Nancy, with Mr. Neto, and Mlingas, and so on and so forth. We really appreciate you guys all joined us. Make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you tell your friends. We'll be back sometime next week to analyze week 8 of the Portuguese League. It's going to be a very tricky league week. I'm going to tell you that right now. George, any final words?
No, everybody enjoyed the weekend. I think there's going to be some good games this weekend. I think there's going to be some surprises. I know we all have our, we all made our guesses on scores, but I think these last Champions League games this week, I think we might get some hangover results based on the Champions League games. There's a lot of Portuguese teams like Benfica, Porto. We usually struggle a little bit after Champions League games. So let's see what happens this weekend.
That's right. Braga did win today, 3-1 against Midtjylland, and they actually missed a penalty on top.
And they were losing at halftime.
Yeah, they were losing.
Who scored the 3 goals?
I'll check for you.
The 3 guys from Braga.
I know. I'm just trying to figure out if there's another forward that Sporting could buy for 26 million to
There
help
you
them
go.
out with the squad.
That's a good thing. All right, it was Galeno on a penalty, Ricardo Huerta, and Galeno.
I think Sporting bought the wrong forward. I think Ricardo Huerta, he's worth a little, at least 12-13 million.
It is what it is. I mean,
Yep.
Braga right now is going to struggle, I think. What's his name was on a hot seat today. Carvalhal, they were saying that he might be on his way out if he didn't win today, and it wasn't looking good for a little while, but they managed to pull through.
Bell's going to come back to Braga.
Well, he's in the final of the Libertadores again.
That's right.
So I think he's pretty busy.
Tied against Atlético Mineiro. But he's done with Brazil. He's tired of Brazil.
Why? Too much.
He's tired. No, I mean I follow Palmeiras and Flamengo, and he's just those fans there are crazy. Like he won the Libertadores last year. He won the Copa do Brazil. He's I think in 4th or 5th place in the league. He's in the finals of the Libertadores, and they just hassled them over his lineups. They just hassled them over the way he plays. They just don't give a crap, dude. They want these teams to change coaches like every 3 games. It's horrible in Brazil. And you gotta watch his interview after the second leg of the Palmeiras Atlético Mineiro game where he earned his place in the final. He went off. He's like, o meu vizinho, eu quero dizer ao meu vizinho, tem lá vizinho lá onde eu vivo, que eu é que sei o que é que eu faço. This is going to the obviously it's not his vizinho. He was talking to the press and to they call it the torcida verde from Palmeiras. These torcidas over there, dude. They go in front of your house. They wait for you, and they freaking. You know how many players they caught coming out of clubs with
Right.
COVID, and they put them against the wall, and they freaking só falta parti-los todos right in front, right over there in front of the club. These over there, they don't play around. They don't play around there.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now. You mentioned before that Abel is tired of Brazil. We all know that who's not tired of Brazil, and that's Nelson Litra. And we got to let him get back to. We got to let him get back to his partying, because he's a good company man, and good company men party with their people.
I think he's in a Uber already or something.
I
Oh, I'm
love
sorry.
listen,
He doesn't. He doesn't do Ubers. He does. He does.
Lyft.
He's got the. He doesn't do. No, he doesn't do Ubers or Lyft. He has his own. He has his own car service waiting for
Oh,
him.
he has his own car service.
That's right.
Damn, you're
That's right. He
bougie,
does.
bro.
He does. Yeah, he does.
And we
Look
all
at
thought
him.
that we were stars, George. And
Listen.
after all, we're nobodies.
Oh,
No,
you
he
guys
does.
know. You guys know I love Palmeiras. I went to Dominican Republic. I took a lot of pictures with Palmeiras. There's a lot of Palmeiras there. I love Palmeiras. I'm glad they in the final. And listen, like George is saying, the fans are crazy. But you know what? 5 years from now, there'll be no fans left in Brazil because they'll be all over America. Like, I mean, every day there's like 10,000 arriving. So it's like there won't be any left. So
Oh, they're all
You'll be
coming
fine.
over? They're all coming over, Nelson? Oh, wow.
No, he's
Shit,
got a
hold on.
Brazilian phone. I
you
guess.
there?
Yeah, we're here. You
Hello,
shut off
Sammy.
your phone.
No,
You shut
I
off
think
your
he's in.
phone.
I think he's in the tunnel.
Oh, he's in a tunnel.
Yeah, he's in the tunnel.
Oh, here he is.
He's in the Heineken tunnel.
I am in the tunnel.
Oh, he's
in the
in the
Heine,
tunnel.
in the Heineken tunnel.
You saying that Brazil sends 10,000 people over?
Every single day.
Oh, how are you gonna keep up with all those women?
I can't anymore. I'm done. I lost 20 pounds in the last 30 days. Like, I can't do this anymore.
Is that from you like showing them around?
Yeah, that's from walking and showing them around, you know? Like, fucking. And then all of them, like, it's nuts because all of them are inclined to music. Like, they all play musical instruments. They love playing the flute. It's just nuts that I can't take this shit anymore.
Flutes and the rusty trombone.
And the trombone. Yeah,
Very good.
it's nuts.
All right, guys. It was a pleasure as always. You guys are always a great crew. I will see you guys next week. Nelson, be careful with the flooding, okay?
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
This guy's.
I'll see you guys. I'll see you soon. We'll be talking. And everyone, have a good week. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you subscribe. And shout out to everybody. Ciao.
Good night, guys.